This video is brought to you by Comstar, your friendly communications network for all in your sphere.
Hey, this is Shearer back with another one of my ranking of the mechs, and this time it is going to be on the Dire Wolf. Sorry, I've been getting a lot more of these clan mechs out just because the Shadow of Karinsky's coming out, and some of this information may actually be outdated once that game comes out. So I want to try to get what's on the mod, and then if some of this information is outdated with the mod or with the Shadow of the Karinsky DLC, I will go over the changes from the DLC to the mod, and that way I can fix up the videos. But as of right now, we're going with the base Dire Wolf. It is the Dire Wolf Prime. I'm thinking of doing the configurations for all the mechs as well, just because I think it'll be a little bit more unique, because most of them have the same stats, just weapon systems are different. So we are looking at 608 points of armor, structures of 313, alpha damage is 100, damage per second is 23.26. It has a weapons heat of 10.41. Heat cooling per second is 4.4. Alpha heat is 54.34. Heat, I'm always going to get that wrong, so that's going to be 74. This is what I'm looking at right here. So, sorry. Jumps. It has no jump jet, so it cannot jump. It's at 51.86 kilometers an hour. Weapon range is 1617, and sensor range is at 800. So we're looking at a mech that is a 100-ton assault mech. It is extremely good. It overpowers the Atlas. It has its perks. It's got the clan perk, which is a top speed modifier of plus 6.7%, a turn speed modifier of 8.0%, acceleration 0.80%, and mech upkeep cost is 20% more. It also has a case system because of its armor. It's also got the Omni Mech Cork. Mech upkeep cost modifier is 20 plus. So already there, it just, ouch. It's got the difficult to eject perk, which is 50% ejection death chance. So if you do not want your pilots to die, don't put them in a Dire Wolf. And it is because of that system where if you look at how the mech sits, you'll notice that its cockpit sits right under basically a armored piece up above it, which kind of makes it vulnerable to difficult to eject, and it can kill you. It's got the improved targeting long, so this mech has a superior long-range targeting equipment. This includes LRMs, ER large, ER lasers, ER PPCs, AC2s, ABX2s, Ultra AC2s, RAC2s, AC5, LBX5, UAC5, RAC5, Gauze, Light and Hyper Gauze, and this gives them a modifier of long-range weapons spread, reduced modifier, -5%. Long-range weapons projection speed is 10% more. Long-range weapon optic range or optimal range is at 5% more. Long-range weapons max range modifier +5. So this mech comes equipped with 4 ER large lasers, 4 medium pulse lasers, 2 UAC 5s, and an LRM 10. It has an XL engine. It's got a core of a 300 engine with 10 external heat sinks, and they're all doubled. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 more heat sinks to keep this thing at a relatively cool. But if you fire all of its weapons in this game very rapidly, it will overheat, so you have to be careful about that. It has 1 ton of ammunition for its LRMs and 2 tons of ammunition for its UAC 5s in each arm. So, for me, the Dire Wolf is one of the best assault mechs out there. It does have its disadvantages, but it also has its advantages. A few disadvantages with this mech is the fact it doesn't really have a perk to protect itself. For some reason, it doesn't have the distracting perk, so it can't. Unlike the Atlas, it can't really get a modifier for dodging, which sucks. The XL engine is always a disadvantage, even when it comes to clan mechs, because once half of its torso gets completely knocked out, it has a disadvantage at its speed. But unlike clans, unlike the Inner Sphere, where the mech is completely destroyed, so if you put an XL engine in an Atlas, it will destroy it completely if it's an XL. Now, it is loaded for combat. This thing is phenomenal at having a lot of weapon systems. So this mech in general is a beast on the battlefield once it gets into its role. It is slow, but faster than some other assaults of its size. And that is due to it being a clan, where it's got its feral fibrous armor, it's under steel, and a lot of that takes up that critical space for weapons as well. But overall, the Dire Wolf is, in its base form, the prime form, it is a wonderful mech, and it is a terrifying sight on the battlefield. So, with that in mind, the Dire Wolf in clan terms of its ranking, I would actually give it a 9. And it's due to the factors that this mech has. That it's an Omni mech, which weaponry can be switched out really easily. But its cost, this thing is expensive. So actually, you know what? That will be in clans. So it does get a 9 in clans. When it comes to the Inner Sphere, I'm going to give it a 6. And the reason it gets a 6 is nothing to do with its weapon systems or anything like that. It gets this 6 based on how much this mech costs. You could buy 2 to 3 Atlases for the price of a Dire Wolf. The Dire Wolf is such heavily cost. This mech drops significantly in its ranking if an Inner Sphere mercenary or a great house wants to get a hold of one. The best thing to do is to salvage this thing and during the clan invasion, salvage goes to the winner, and as Tech says, and that means you're not getting salvage from the clans unless you get lucky at that time. Now, later on in the timeline, yes, you will be able to get salvage. Now, in game, there are a few ways to get this mech. One is by finding one on the battlefield, and it's going to be significantly. You're going to have to probably buy the purchasing or get the mod that purchases salvage or mech delivery. Those are really the only two ways, because I've never really found it in an industrial site. Now, it might happen eventually. So overall, in this, yeah, I would not give it a high ranking for Inner Sphere because the cost is too much out there. And the biggest thing is the difficult to eject. Now, for clans, that is no big deal, but for Inner Sphere, they prefer to have their pilots alive if they can get them. So, but overall, that is the Direwolf. The Direwolf is a phenomenal machine, but it does come at you with a cost. This thing is expensive to buy, expensive to work with, and overall, it's, in my opinion, if you really want one, just have the one, because you could change it out for other weapon systems if you so desire. So that is the Direwolf. Thank you so much for listening. This will be Shiru signing off.
This video was produced by Comstar.